There we go. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Gunn, and I'm the coordinator of digital scholarship at Catholic University of America Libraries. I'm joined by my colleague, Michaela Champion, one of our graduate library pre-professionals who will be monitoring the chat for any questions. This workshop is being recorded and will be made available at a later date along with the slides. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a quick overview of the build option in the Gale Digital Scholar Lab, just to get our bearings, and then we're going to look at the cleaning portion of it. It's very important and integral. Before one can even analyze data set, one needs to know that one has clean data, clean text that meets your specifications, in order that you may have meaningful analyses. So we'll look at some cleaning text factors that you need to consider when moving forward. All right, and then I'll do a demonstration, give you some real live example of how to go about doing that. So just a quick overview for the Digital Scholarship Lab. For those of you who are not here in our first session on building a set, it is a cloud-based content set creation and textual analysis form. So it brings together a lot of material. For example, the Gale primary sources. It brings in a lot of collections. You can add your own text documents if you want. It can bring it allows you to clean and then analyze using 6 GUI-based open source tools for text analysis. So it does bring a lot together. In addition to that, it also has a lot of help features from videos to text processes and that sort of thing. How to go about doing a decent project. Lots of tutorials and projects that you can work on as well. So what you're looking at in the lab is that what's been done is that Gale's taken a lot of the primary sources out there, usually in microfilm or microfiche format. And what they've done is they've created a raw OCR text from that. And then they've made it available to you so that you can do a statistical analysis and visual output to that. So it's very much a large process, but of course, going through nothing is perfect. So going through this process, you can run into problems in that. So I'll outline a few of those. So I should mention, there are the 6 basic text analysis tools that you can use. The ones under quantitative analysis include parts of speech, named entity recognition, and n-grams. Under qualitative analysis, you have sentiment analysis, you have clustering, and then you have topic modeling. Won't really get into those. I point them out to you because you should be aware when you have a research question, you should be aware how you are going to answer your research question. And in order to do that, you need to know the tools that you're going to use. And in order to do that, you need to, knowing what tools you're going to use, you're going to be making different decisions when you're cleaning your text. So for example, if you are doing a sentiment analysis on a particular document set, where you're looking at words and if they have negative appeal or if they have positive appeal or they're somehow neutral. So when you're cleaning your set and you're looking at stop words, for example, you may not want to delete the word not, N-O-T. So if you have a sentence, for example, I am not happy, that would be a negative sentiment. But if you eliminate that in your cleaning process, then it becomes I am happy, and that becomes a positive thing. So you get very much a false result from that. So those are the sorts of issues that you have to consider when you're cleaning your text. So looking at the big picture, if you will, the idea of ideation, your research question, all that. Build, we did last session, so I will quickly go through that. Today we're looking at cleaning, the configure clean attributes, looking at the cleaning tool, looking at the clean OCR data. Gale has done a lot of the cleaning OCR data for you, but it's not perfect. And they show you how it's not perfect using a thing called a confidence level. So that's always useful when you're looking at your documentation before you do analyses. All right, so what are you considering when you're cleaning your data? What are you going to be looking at? Well, there's so many things. You can be looking for missing text that may not have been OCR'd at all. You can be looking at irregular text. So for example, spelling errors, garble. Frankly, if the OCR quality is low, you'll just have to look at random letters and symbols. So how do you deal with those sorts of things? You may have unnecessary text. For example, a repetitive text. You may have duplicates. So if you're doing novels and you've downloaded some stuff from the Internet Archive or something like that, a lot of novels will have the title page on the top of literally every page. So it's that sort of repetitive text and duplicates that you'll need to consider to get rid of. There's also numbered pages. How do you get rid of those numbers? So it can be quite complicated in doing that. You're looking also at inconsistent text, so words that are capitalized, words that are not capitalized, capitals when necessary. And again, I reiterate the point that if you're going to do topic modeling, for example, if you're looking at a particular topic, set of topics within a document set, and you're doing exploration, capitals can be quite important. So if you're looking, you don't want to just automatically, when you're doing a cleaning session, you don't want to automatically say, make all letters lowercase. So for example, you may want to keep Mr. Smith, keep Smith capitalized. But in other parts of the text, there may be Smith is not capitalized, which refers to a type of blacksmith. So if you pretend that they're the same, Mr. Smith and Smith, then the topic modeling will just treat it as, oh, Smith is very important in this book. In this document, I'll need to emphasize that. So again, you'll get skewed results from that. So these are things you have to consider. Last, you have spacing. So what kind of spacing do you have? White spaces, spacings before text, after text, paragraph breaks, all these sorts of things that you often have to consider, especially when before you do your analysis. So in short, you have to ask yourself, what is it that you hope to accomplish from your project, and what are the best tools that you can use to do that? And once you've decided those, then how you clean the text is going to be important. All right, so let us get to the old demo here. So we're at libraries.catholic.edu, and we want to go under research help here. So I'm going to click on that. So here we are on our main page, and we're going to go under research help right here. And we're going to go to Gale Digital Scholar Lab. And we'll just scroll down and access the lab right down here. All right, so if you are logging in for the first time, you'll see right over underneath here where my cursor is, you'll say sign in or create account. So you go ahead and you do that. I've already done that, and I go through Google to do that. So if you look at the top right-hand corner, it has me signed in already right here. So important to keep in mind. So once you're logged in, it gives you the build, how to go about building it, cleaning their text, and then analyzing that. So we will go through that very quickly here. I'm going to go up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to build, right in top right-hand corner here. And I'm going to click on that. I'm sort of going to redo the search I did last time, just so to give you a basis. So I'm looking, my research question is, I'm looking at the Northwest Rebellion of 1885 that happened in Western Canada, was known as Western Canada now. A lot of the natives, Aboriginals, First Nations, and Métis rose up against the Canadian government because they were not being represented in the government. So there was a rebellion that lasted March 1885 to, I think, the end of June 1885, and it happened in a couple places in Saskatchewan and Alberta, what is now known as Saskatchewan and Alberta. So my question is, that's sort of the historical background. My question is, how did the newspapers at that time in 1885, how did they view the rebellion, since it was happening, so to speak, in real time for them? So that's what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to type in North West Rebellion. And here is 1885. So as soon as I click on that, it's going to give me 87 results, very quick. And that's great. But since I only want to know what newspaper reports were in 1885, what I can do is I can go to the publication date, click on that. So I'm going to filter my results. And what you have to do is you have to type in exact dates. So in this case, 1885, and then I'll start at the beginning of the year. I could do, since it started in March, I could do March 1st, but I'm just going to do the whole year here. And then 12/31, 1885. So there we go. And I'm going to apply this. And my 87 has now come down to 31. So I take a quick look at this, my set, and I look at it, and you have these different records listed here. They give you the OCR confidence, which is quite important. And they give you the archives and source libraries and all that sort of thing that are available to you. So I'm looking at this and I'm sort of scrolling down here. So here's a really good example I like to use. I'm going to click on this. And this one has an OCR level of confidence of 68% here. It explains how it goes about getting that, but that's okay. We won't get into the details here. So here it is, and they give you the original document that was scanned, which is great. And let me just scroll a little bit down here. You'll notice, where exactly is it? It's sort of right here. You can see it off the side here. So I'm going to move it to the center here, and I still can't read it. So I'm going to enlarge. Now, the reason why I'm going to do this is that I would like to read it. And the reason I want to read it, because here is the OCR that came out of it. And boy, oh boy, 68%, that's kind of generous, I think. But take a look at this. So we have the Northwest Rebellion, so far so good. And then M lean mounted, whatever, at this point, it's kind of garbage. garbled, right? So you look over here and you can go and you can take a look at this and you realize, oh, okay, so we have a subheading here, 15 mounted police reported to have been killed. And then it lists the location, Winnipeg, Manitoba, March 25th, good. And then it goes through and you as the human, you can basically read this for the most part. Your reading skills are better. For the machine who's reading this, it can only interpret what's there. So if it can't say, well, that's a word or anything, it'll say, well, that looks like this particular letter, and it'll throw it out there. So this is your first major problem. How confident are you with your OCR? So in this case here, we have this document here. At this point, you got to make a couple choices here. Here, if this document is important, if it's not important, then you can just delete it and move on for your project. But if it is important, then you're going to have to make a decision about cleaning. So you're going to have to extract it. You're going to have to clean it and go through, looks literally sentence by sentence in order to get proper, the correct text. Now, thankfully, this is not a long document, but you can understand why cleaning sets are often the most time-consuming, laborious, and boring part of doing a text analysis project. This is a really good example of why that's so. So let us go back here. So I'll move back here to our main page. And we have our documents listed here. We've got our applied filters that we've done that. So right now we're ready to do is do a clean configuration. So we want to save this results here. So I'm going to go to add to content set. Okay, so I like the documents in here. Yeah, there might kind of need to be cleaned up in that. Do some pre-cleaning before you do the actual cleaning is a one way to put it. And here you can go and create a new content set. So I'm going to do Northwest Rebellion. And I'm going to say November 4th. So we'll keep that. Working with the right data set's important. Okay. And of course, I created this set, but I didn't add anything to it. So it will tell you that. So that's quite all right. So I go there, I do select all. There it is. And then it says add to content set. And I go down here to November 4th. And now I can go and view the content set listed here. So it'll tell me the search history that I did on that and where the documents are located. If there was a document in here that I had uploaded, say ILO one document uploaded. So you know what, every step of the process, you know what's going on. All right. So there it is. That's the setup. Let's go to the clean function. Top right-hand corner here, we have the clean button. So we're going to click on that. And what's really great about this page here is that it forces you to think about a lot of questions that you have to ask as you're thinking about cleaning up your text. I must emphasize that cleaning your document set is very much an iterative process. You're going to clean it, you're going to look at the results, and you're going to go back and you're going to do it again, and you're going to tinker a lot of the time. So it's good to keep track of what you are doing. So let me give a quick overview of the page here. So moving down the list here, we have text correction. You need to be very careful about what you're doing. I have used turn on all options because I wanted to see what would spit out. And unfortunately, it when I went to look at my analysis, it didn't really help anything. So you have to be very much selective in what you're doing. So text modification, hey, lowercase, I mentioned before, very good if you just want to make crunch some numbers and see how often words mentioned. But if you're doing something like topic modeling, then you have to be very careful about how you're going to be handling capital letters. So characters, you remove all extended ASCII letters, letters that characters that sort of gibberishy, if you will, that you want to not count as your in your clean set. You want to look at number characters. Again, how are you using, does your text have any numbers in it? That's something you may want to be thinking about before you select on that, removing that. So you can look at special characters. So you can look at specific characters. So once you looked at your text, and we did that before the clean session, right? So we noticed that there was a lot of weird things like underscores and slashes and that. So we want to make sure you can very much specify what special characters you want eliminated, or you can just select all of them like that and go there. Same thing with punctuation. If you want to look at punctuation, you can do all of this. So you have all these particular things that can come up, and you can do remove punctuation like that. Excuse me. Now you have space, excuse me, spacing. This is going to be something that may be useful for you or not. So removing all tabs may be helpful. Removing all line breaks may be helpful. You can reduce multiple spaces to one space, but you have to be careful about whether spaces are important to you. So if your two separate words become one word, then that could be a problem. They also allow you for document sections. I mentioned here before about novels from the Internet Archive. A lot of the titles are at the top of every page. So, if you load up one of those novels with that in a text file, you have to ask yourself, will this clean option allow you to remove all of this? So you're going to have to test that, especially if you're pulling from another source other than Gale. Okay, so it's important when working with this text that you consider that. Also, right down here, you have replacements. Now, this is quite useful here. For example, quite often the machine, when it's reading the text, will spit out some garble. So you and I look at it, it's a letter T, but because there's some dirt got on the scan, there's a little piece of dirt before the T, and what happens is it spits out some gibberish. So it could be like TR, something like that, right? You go, wow, okay, great. What do I do with that? Well, you can scroll through your text, and if it's the same letter, in this case T, being replaced with this garble, then you can do a search for this and replace it with the letter T. So that's one quick way that you can get rid of a lot of the garble found. Again, it's not perfect, but it's definitely something you can help that can help you with. So, all right. All right, scrolling up here, we have stop words. So stop words are important because you can, if you don't use stop words, if you don't limit, exclude stop words, when you do an analysis, they'll point out all the most common words, right? So add, the, of, words like that. From here, you can tell the words that are listed here. So just going through, it just goes on and on. And there are many stop word lists out there, not only in English, but other languages. So you can spend some time, if it's very important to you, creating your own specific stop word list, especially if it's dependent on your particular project. So you'll notice I mentioned not right here. So not happy becomes, if you don't count it, stop word, then it'll turn to happy, which, you know, okay, fine. That's good for you as far as you're concerned, because maybe you're doing a word count on the word happy. But if you're doing a sentiment analysis, then it's going to skew your results. So that's something that you need to consider when you're looking at your stop words. And you can choose a starter list here. And this is a particular one here where you have English, but you have a whole bunch of other languages. So I'm just going to select English. There we go. And let me go back up here. And I should mention too, that here, if I'm using this particular English list, I can go in and type in my own words. So I can go crazy, for example. I don't want that word to come up in a particular text or a document set. So I can type in whatever I want there, and that will be used. So, all right. So that is a very quick overview of the page here. So I've selected some of these here, my stop words, my special characters, and punctuation. So I'm now going to go up and save. And it says, okay, you know, this is my new cleaning configuration. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to rename it cleaning configuration, and I'm going to call it November 4. There it is, and I'm going to save that. There you go. I should also mention right here, configuration notes. I really like this part of the whole lab because you need to keep track of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So it's important that you have these particular items selected and why you're selecting them. What words did you put in your stop words in addition to the stop word list is available there. So you really need to document that because you're going to need it later when you write up your paper and that. All right. Okay, so there we go. All right, so I just saved it. And now what I want to do is a new configuration. And we'll do Northwest Rebellion 1885 and clean. So there it is. And then what I can do at this point is I can be highly selective of what I want to do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to choose a starter list. And I'm going to choose English. And that. And I should mention, because we're looking at the Northwest Rebellion of 1885, there's going to be English commentary on this, but there's also going to be French Canadian commentary on this. So you may want to select French as well. I won't bother at this time. All right, so we have that. and we save our configuration. Okay. All right, now let's see how this works out. I'm going to click on download. And what's going to happen is it's going to give me a CSV file. Here it is. This is, I'm showing my particular Excel file. And what it does, it gives you, it breaks down the page here. Here's the file. And now you'll notice it has a listing of what it is I'm trying to accomplish. And it'll tell you, you know, what it is that you were restricting when you're doing your search. So you have the body of text as false, the front matter, title page and preface true, and all that sort of stuff. So it gives you a good idea of it's further documentation that you can use for your final project. Okay, so we do back. There we go, back to the clean page. All right, so at this point, we want to do a clean configuration. So let's take a look at our test module here. What it's going to do is going to, let's do this. I'm going to do this November. This is our content set. So I've created my clean configuration. You remember we looked at the build part, we looked at some of the weird stuff there. So I clicked some stuff just to see what would happen in our clean build. And now we're going to look at the first 10 documents. We had 31. We're going to look at the first 10 documents and see what we get. So I'm going to click on download. And sometimes it'll take a minute or two. Sometimes it's very quick. So sort of a hit and miss type scenario. You'll notice right here, test clean says download ready. So let's take a look at download ready. And okay, let's see what's going to do here. Okay, good. So I'm downloading this. I'm going to look at this. And if this worked. So here it downloads to your laptop or your computer, and it gives you two files. It gives you a clean file, and it gives you an original file. But we need to extract this. So I'm going to extract this to download number 4. Oh, and here they are. So I'm going to look at the clean one first, and you'll notice the size is kind of small, but it is there, so that's encouraging. Let me just slide this over. So 13702, let's take a look at that one. And that is the clean file right there. So wow, it just slammed everything together. Let's take a look at the original file. And it's 13702. And there it is. So let me. All right, so I'm showing you, this is the clean file here. I've cleaned it. And as you can see, Jiminy Cricket, it sure does need some extra work. And I'm going to now show you the original. All right. So there's the original. So again, you have to look at your results. You'll notice a lot of garble here that you have to clean up. You'll notice here, chapter 1, Viva la Nation, Métis. These are sorts of things that you're going to have to look at if you're removing or not. You'll notice here the chapter 1 is still listed here, but all the spacing has been removed. So obviously I've not accomplished my ultimate goal of making sure the text is clean, but I think you get a demonstration of how things can progress. Let me see. One of the things that you could do, let me pull this up here. So I did, as soon as I did this off before the session here, because I want to, it takes a little bit of time, a couple minutes for a word cloud to be generated when you do analysis. So I did, once I had built my content of 31 records, I skipped the cleaning and I immediately went to analysis to do a word cloud. And this is what you can do. And you can take a look. And this is what a word cloud is a snapshot of all the most common characters, or in this case, words listed here. So you can take a look at it and you can see right away, oh, gee, there's spacing, I see. Oh, there's French in here, that sort of thing. Punctuation. So you get a sense, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to have to clean up right away. So it gives you a very good snapshot. And then I ran it, and I don't think I selected all the right parts in that. So I got this and this particular word cloud, and it seems to be a little bit better, but obviously you can still see punctuation and stuff like that in here. So it looks like it's still going to need some work. And that's okay. So that's what you do. You sort of evaluate your results and go back and redo and keep practicing until you get a set that's quite useful. All right, I'm going to go back to here. So at that point, you go through the process again and again and again until you get that set, that it's something that you can use. So you're going to keep using refining your cleaning configuration, and then you're going to test it. And keep taking a look at this 10 documents, keep going until it's clean. And at that point, once you've done that, you're then able to go to analyses right here. So if I want to do a sentiment analysis on this particular one, I could. And I'm going to run this just very quickly, and it may take a little while. So it says in progress, so we can wait. So what are some of the things that you'll need to consider when you're working with text? So you want to do basically what we've been talking about in cleaning is what you want to normalize the text. So you want to make sure that the noise, so much of the noise in there, all these weird symbols and that sort of thing, that they're removed, hashtags, punctuation numbers, all that sort of stuff. Also, I mentioned stop words as well. You may have noticed I mentioned in the word cloud that we had French words in there, de and de and that sort of thing. Well, if we had selected the French list of stop words, then that would have eliminated those. So like I said, it's a reiterative process. You keep going over and over again. So you want to look at those stop words, you know, where you want to make sure that they don't eliminate anything, so, or change your analysis in any way. There are words you're looking at, the issues of stemming. So if you're doing a particular analysis where you just want to look at the stem of a word, then you're going to have to use stemming lists. Like, for example, rain, raining, rained, right? You just want the word rain, right? So you have to consider those sorts of processes, if you will, moving forward. It also goes with the concept of lemmatization. So you have words that you want to reduce words to their root form and not have redundancies put in there, because again, that will skewer your results. And of course, the whole idea of parts of speech tagging, that's something that you could also build upon, so you can categorize words depending on what parts of speech, their noun, adjectives, adverbs, that sort of thing. So a lot of different ways that you can go about it. Here's the view here for this particular one. So let's take a look at it. It's very short run time, which is nice. It's not a complaint. So here we have under sentiment analysis. We don't have anything very much useful here. And let me see if I can. Okay. So under this graph here, you'll notice the different percentages in that. So you get a sense of where things are listed here. So it looks like it's, given that they're newspapers that we're pulling from, it looks kind of neutral in a way. So that's something you could take a look at, and review. Is this significant in any way? Maybe you need to go back and redo your cleaning. So at this point, you can also download your item as well. So that gives you a quick overview of the whole process of the lab. Next week, next Friday, we'll be doing spending more time on the analysis and data visualization component of the lab, which is kind of fun and cool and that. So hope you show up for next week. It'd be kind of fun. All right. So that's it for today's demonstration. Does anyone have any questions? All right, then. In that case, thorough questions, then we might as well end. I just want to thank everyone for coming, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.